was it. They all lived here in Southern California, and back then the Zoological Society of San Diego got permission from the Department of Interior. And they got permission to work with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as well as the Audubon Society and the LA Zoo. And you might remember it was very controversial. They went out into the wild and they collected up all 22 birds and brought them onto the grounds of the safari park in Escondido. And then they did what? They went to work on double clutching. Everything that they learned from the Andean condor, they applied to the California condor. So we went from 22 birds in about 1983. Today, we have over 400. And more than half of them are flying free once again over the skies of southern Utah, southern California, Arizona, and the northern regions of Mexico. And that's all the result of the Institute for Conservation Research and their efforts. But this is my favorite part of the story. Guess who helped pay for it? You did. Your visitation here today, your expenditures here on zoo grounds, your generous donations, but most importantly, your memberships. We could do nothing in the way of environmental conservation without your members. We thank you so much for that. This is Express Bus Stop number 4 here. Remember I showed you 3 earlier. Now see the time on this one, it says, what's that say, 6:50? So the last bus will depart from there at 6:50 tonight and we'll take you right back to the main entrance. We are near bus, location disc number 10, map location number 10 is on the right-hand side of the bus. It's understandable that you're going to struggle with the map. We all do the same thing when we go to Disney. Those map location discs are there for your convenience. Meerkats on the right-hand side of the bus. This time of day, they're usually pretty close to the enclosure front there. They're kind of difficult to see. But we've got 6 little meerkats in that exhibit. Meerkats, of course, are made famous by Meerkat Manor. They're a little bit too small to live on their own, so they live underground in very, very large groups. A group of meerkats is typically known as a mob of meerkats. This is what we call Africa rocks over here. This big old pile of boulders, well, it's not even boulders, it's sprayed concrete over wire mesh and steel. This is a rendition of an African kopie. Kopie, of course, is a Dutch word. Translates in English into rocky outcropping. If you get to Kenya and Tanzania along the Serengeti Plain, you'll see these kopies that rise as high as 500 feet above the surface of the Serengeti. They're gigantic, and they provide a permanent supply of food, shelter, and water to a variety of animals that have evolved to survive in the African kopie. They're not found anywhere else in Africa. Clip-springer antelope, bat-lure eagle, a variety of birds and reptiles, and the rock hyrax that line inside the Africa rocks exhibit. Left and right-hand side of the bus are beautiful examples of some of the succulents and other varieties of plants that are accredited to the American Association of Museums. Please keep in mind that the San Diego Zoo is one of only 6 zoos fully accredited by the American Association of Museums. On the right-hand side of the bus is a young lady who has probably the worst job in San Diego Zoo. You've got the worst job in the entire zoo. This is a New Guinea singing dog puppy. And she's chatting with the public there a little bit, so I'm going to keep it down. You're going to sing for us? Aren't they beautiful? That's a pretty lousy job, don't you think? You hate your job, don't you? Now wait a minute, whose babies do you prefer better? Those or yours at home? Unfair question, huh? You just came back to work after having a new baby, didn't you? Yeah.
Perros que cantan.
Singing dogs, true wild dogs. Did you know that there was once a land bridge that connected New Guinea with Australia? It was called Sahul about 11,000 years ago. And as a result of that natural land bridge, taxonomists have no idea what came first, the New Guinea singing dog or the dingo, the wild dog of Australia. More nocturnal animals over here. We're now in what we call Nocturnal Canyon on Parkway. These are striped hyena over here on the right-hand side of the bus. They'll be waking up a little bit later on. Remember we talked about the hippo being nocturnal? Many of the animals here are in fact nocturnal. They wake up a little bit later in the afternoon and they are active primarily at night. This is a desert bighorn over here on the right-hand side. One of 5 subspecies. The same animals in pretty bad shape here in North America. It's threatened, its numbers are dwindling, and is being outcompeted by feral animals that are running loose in native territory, and as well, they're also being threatened by invasive plants that are overtaking some of the indigenous plants in parts of California, which serve as food for the desert bighorn. We're starting the Big Cat Trail over here on the left-hand side of the bus. We're getting close to Express Bus Stop number 5. That's a great place to get back to the Big Cat Trail. You're going to find Siberian lynx, snow leopard, mountain lion. Oh my goodness. face over here on the right-hand side of the bus. Look at that face over there, how handsome he is. Who does he remind you of?
Pumba.
Pumba, that's right. That is a South African warthog. That is a true pig. His name, by the way, is Pumba. And his mate is named Lulu. Yeah, he's a handsome male. The warts on his face, we call them warts. They're actually not warts. They're cartilaginous protuberances, and they are there to protect the males from each other during the mating season. Now, true pigs, these guys are. They have 4 toes on each foot, and they have the upward curved tusks. That delineates a true suidae, right? They're true pigs, 4 toes, upward curved tusks. Hey, what about these guys on the right-hand side of the bus? They look like pigs, they smell like pigs, probably taste like pigs, but they're not pigs, they're peccary. Big difference between a pig and a peccary. You'll notice they don't have the upward curved tusks. Their tusks are up from the upper gum in a downward fashion like a dagger, and they only have 3 toes on their back. So these guys are Chacao and peccary from the Grand Chacao of Paraguay. They were only discovered to exist in 1972. Where they are from in Paraguay is so impenetrable that they're thought to be extinct prior to that. They got 2 little babies in there too, little piglets. Wait a minute, they're peccary. What would you call them? I don't know what you call it. They're not a pig, they're a peccary or something. I don't know. I've got to be careful with that one. The arch enclosures over here on the right-hand side of the bus, there were many, many more of those here when I first started in 1984. We're now down to 5. Still very useful exhibits for some of our smaller, shyer animals. Speaking of an animal that is not shy, over here on the right-hand side of the bus, probably the most active animal here at the zoo, this is the honey badger. Honey badgers are typically from the northeast corner of Africa all the way down to South Africa. This particular variety is from South Africa. It's a badger, so it's a very dangerous animal. It is, without a doubt, the most vicious animal in all of Africa. If you got a smartphone on you don't believe me, go ahead and Google it. You'll find out the most vicious animal in all of Africa is the rattle, or the honey badger. Their skin is virtually impenetrable. They can turn around in their skin to bite you. And stop and think about it. A lion attempting to eat one of these guys could be seriously injured on its nose or mouth. And that would preclude the animal from feeding itself. As a result, they stay away from honey badgers. They don't get near them. They are cute though. I'll give them that.
Se enrollan y son incomibles. Si un león se enrolla, son incomibles. Si un león trata de comérselo, sale muy lastimado. Que por eso no se les acerca.
Side of the bus, we're looking for another Brazilian jaguar. His name is Orson, melanistic phase Brazilian jaguar, meaning he's almost pure black. It looks like from where everybody's standing there, he is inside this little cave there. He'll be up wandering around here shortly. Melanistic phase means he's almost entirely black. It is a form of camouflage. It's not a black panther. It is a Brazilian jaguar in melanistic phase. Got mountain lion over here on the left-hand side of the bus. There is a pair in the exhibit. Up in the back left corner, you will see somebody. Not uncommon to see him kind of roaming around that exhibit. And that, of course, is the big cat from North America. Now, with all the names, Florida panther, jaguar, puma, wildcat, what else? Martin coit. There's like 40 different names.